Good evening, everybody. Welcome to episode number 4 of the All Talk Show podcast, where anything goes and everything is open for discussion. You've been warned, so cover your ears and open your mouths. I am Tony Mango, your host for this evening, and I'm here with the rest of the crew. We got Mike Paden on the soundboard.
Hey, yo.
We got Miguel Leon, not on the
Long
soundboard,
live-
but still here.
You ruined my intro. I was going to say long live new metal.
And we've got Drew White, who does not want to connect, even though he just said that he was home and I sent him that message or whatever. But Drew is going to pop up in a minute or so.
What are you talking about? I'm right here.
Milkshake.
He saw I was here, so he kind of just fleed.
So if you haven't listened to the All Talk Show before, let me just throw something out there. It's not like our other podcasts. We don't go into this with a whole bunch of predetermined topics to discuss, so it's up to you. We're just going to
do that with our other podcasts?
Yeah. Or apparently in this case,
Talk.
or in this case, a predetermined start date.
Yeah, exactly. For those that were paying attention to that, I wanted this to start at 10, but then we decided to push it back to 10:30, and then between a glitch on my end and me fucking up on top of that, we're starting at 10:59 instead. There's Drew.
Hey, this is Drew White, and I don't fuck things up like Tony.
And Chrome. I'm gonna blame Google on part of this because that started
things on a whole nother level.
Well,
Yeah.
if you try to email them for tech support, they'll never get back to you.
Yeah.
No, if you try to email them and ask them about their terms of service, you know they're not going to get back to anyone on that.
No, even if you call that one number, you'll just get that one woman that says that she can't tell you any information, even her name.
Is it the same woman who does the Blog Talk Radio? Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.
Hello, this is Agent 1143. I can't tell you any other information at all. I'm just going to tell you to go to Google. What a bitch.
Perhaps if you want something, you should Google it.
Yeah. It's like, oh, wow, you work for Comcast, don't you?
Yeah.
Terrible.
Have you tried Yahoo?
I still think that that's one of the worst things I had ever come across when it comes to customer service was the fucking Comcast dude that I'm like, hey, I've got a Blu-ray player. Can I get the remote to, work with the auxiliary so that way I can change the volume? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, all right, well, how? Because I tried all of your DVD codes and none of them work. So, do you have any codes for like a Blu-ray that I just don't have and I can't find online? And he goes, okay, here you go. Here's the codes for Sony TVs. And I'm like, it's not a TV, but okay, I'll try them anyway. What the hell? Why not? Try them all. And I'm like, yeah, I figured they wouldn't work because it's a, Blu-ray player, not a TV. So, do you got any Blu-ray player ones? Like how I said. The guy's name was Edsel, by the way. Edsel. So it was off to a great start. And then it was like, oh, yeah, I get you. So here are some codes for Sony DVDs. I'm like, no, dude, I already tried them. Remember how I said earlier, I tried them? And he's like, all right, well, let me get you some of those TV codes then. I'm like, no. We tried the TV ones. And this was like an hour-long conversation on their online chat. Because at a certain point, I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna keep this guy going. Like,
oh, wait a minute. You got an online chat. I'm willing to bet what happened was you got a pre-programmed computer, and every response you gave him, he just had to go to a default. Well, it was just like, I'm sorry, my responses are limited. You must ask the right question.
It wasn't that because he started to get like really frustrated.
Oh.
Like he would just be like, I don't understand why you can't use a TV one. And I'm like, because it's not a TV. Like, I don't understand how you don't get a TV's not a Blu-ray player and all this. So he started to get to the point where he started sending me eHow articles of how to program my Sony TV. And I'm like, dude, I'm typing in all caps at this point. This is not a fucking TV. I'm hooking this up to my TV. Do you understand how, like, if you go to get your car fixed because your tire is broken and you need a new tire, that somebody isn't just kind of like, okay, well, here's a steering wheel. That's a wheel. So he finally gets to a point where he goes, have you tried Googling it? And I'm like, fuck you. I'm done. Click out of it. He's like, oh, I'm sorry, whatever. So I call them up after that, and they're like, hi, this is Mary or Kate or whatever, or Ashley Olsen. How can I help you? Or no, she said, can I help you today? Instead of how can I help you? And I was just like, well, I fucking hope so. So she goes, "Oh God, that doesn't sound like a good start." And I'm like, "No, it isn't. First off, can you tell me the difference between a Blu-ray player and a TV just to make sure?" She's like, "Yes. Why? What happened?"
Did
You
you
talked
actually
to
make her
Edsel,
explain
didn't
it?
you?
Yeah, I went through the whole thing with her, and she ended up finding the right code and stuff. And I was just like,
So you just got a shitty representative that you can't necessarily blame the company for
Yeah.
that.
well, that took a while because she was like, "Oh, I never had somebody actually ask for this. You know, like I don't know."
Never
what these
had
codes
somebody
do."
need a Blu-ray?
for the codes for the Comcast remote. She had to actually find it on a forum where somebody else had found the answer to it because they couldn't get the answer from Comcast. So she started Googling and doing shit and whatever. But I had talked to her throughout that whole thing, and I was telling her about that other experience, which I'll tell another time about them coming out 13 times and trying to blame it on a ghost. But I don't want to run that down and talk for 2 hours about Comcast. But what's up with you guys? What'd you do today?
Today?
Well, I got a job at Comcast.
Oh, did you Google all the answers?
Mm-hmm.
I just got back from beat-ups. Oh, I was... No, what happened was...
Beat-ups, that's where they beat you up?
No, Buffalo Wild Wings.
Some steps.
No, what we were going to do...
Ew,
we were gonna go
wait
to
a minute,
IHOP
wait a minute. You
with, free
acronymed
pancakes today,
Buffalo
but
Wild
the issue
Wings?
is... The issue... Thank you, Miguel. The issue was that there was like an hour wait, and by the time we sat down, it would have been past 10 o'clock, so we didn't end up getting IHOP to get free pancakes.
Wait, what? How? This is conditional? Like, you got to go to Buffalo Wild Wings, and then if you can
No,
do that,
I have, it
go
was
to
National
IHOP?
Pancake Day at IHOP. And
Oh.
Yeah.
for 10, you got free pancakes.
Okay, I didn't know that. What makes this Pancake Day? Like,
I don't know.
just tell
It's
us
just one of
Something
those
like
random
their
holidays
anniversary
that
or
save the
something.
world or something?
It's got to be their anniversary or something. I don't know really what the deal with that is. Andrew J. Pancake was born this day.
Oh, that's great
I
American.
eat at Denny's.
I could see him being more like Belgian. Where do pancakes come from anyway? I mean, we know Belgian waffles are obviously Belgium.
What nationality is Aunt Jemima?
Yes,
I don't know if I
pancakes
touched that with
African.
10 football. I think she's like part Cuban now. At least she's been out recently.
Hmm.
I don't know. There's like 4 of them.
According to Wikipedia, they're Greek, actually.
Really?
Pancakes are great.
Pancakes. But that doesn't seem Greek at all.
You know, the interesting thing about pancakes, and I know it's kind of obvious with their name, but if you really think about it, it's essentially cake for
Right.
breakfast. How fucking great is that?
What if they would have gone with a different route? Pan nuts.
And as if it wasn't sweet enough, let's just fucking slather it in maple syrup.
And confectioner sugar sometimes. People that like have leftover from their French toast and shit just mix that all together.
Mm.
I almost feel like pancakes were like an accident. It was like, hey, these pitas are really thick. What do we do with them? Just throw some syrup on them.
That makes
like-
sense now, honestly.
We've got this extra pound cake recipe, but I don't really want to make it that thick. So let's just make these little things. Which, by the way, last night when we were doing the Monday Night Raw post-show, we ended up talking about food, and people brought up the idea that this should be the all-food show. We're already on the topic, but speaking of pancakes, though, 2 things come to my mind that I always kind of ask people when it comes to pancakes. Do you guys put butter on and syrup? I only put
I just
syrup.
put syrup on it.
No,
I don't
just
like
syrup.
butter on it.
Yeah, butter is too much.
Except the thing with syrup, the syrup has to be heated up because if you have cold syrup, it's just going to make the pancake cold.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely.
Plus, it's
Yeah.
not as like the syrup's all thick and it doesn't like go around as much. Like it's got to be hot.
Mm.
Exactly. Good
And I
point.
never understood using both because you can't taste the butter after you put the syrup on.
Well, sure you can.
I can't.
Well, your taste buds are not as superior, obviously.
I guess.
No, the problem with butter is that it's too much damn work because you got to like lift up each pancake and try to butter it while that pancake is there. It's a pain in the fucking balls, and it's not even worth it because it really doesn't add that much of a taste to it. There's already butter in the fucking pancakes.
Right.
It's part of the recipe, so there's no need to add more butter. What I do like on my pancakes is strawberries and bananas.
I've had that before. That is good.
Mm-hmm.
You ever have blueberries on there?
Yeah, blueberries is good too. That's like my probably my easiest way to make it healthy for breakfast is to have it fruit on my pancakes.
The closest thing I come to that is the last time I was at IHOP, I was just like, all right, I'm going to get the big-ass meal where it's got, like, bacon and ham and sausage and eggs and toast and whatever and all that. And I'm like, but I'll put the blueberry syrup on.
Oh, wow.
That'll be like the healthy thing I do, technically. Do you use butter, Miguel, or do you just do syrup?
I just do syrup. Actually, I've been getting creative with pancakes. I actually
Oh, wow, Mr. Fancy Pants over here.
No. I'm not creative in a
Cumin
sense
and
that,
everything.
No.
You really dance to Mima?
Creative in a sense that I ran out of certain ingredients. So what I did is I used pancakes as a substitute for bread. So when I made the pancakes, I put a piece of cheese and a piece of meat on it, and then covered it with the rest of the batter, and just ate it like a sandwich.
That's probably
Actually
not that
sounds
bad.
fantastic. I'm actually a very big proponent of using pancakes as like a substitute for things. Like, for instance, I remember, was it McDonald's or maybe it was Burger King had a sandwich where the bread was actually pancakes.
The McGriddles.
The McGriddles. Yeah. Oh, they're fucking delicious.
The
I had them
McGriddles.
once and I wasn't too fond of them.
The problem with McGriddles is that they inject them with like so much syrup.
Mhm.
It gives me heartburn in the morning. Like you can't take that much syrup just waking up, or else you'll just wake up with really nasty build up.
I love McDonald's breakfast though. Those hash browns kick ass. And the what's it called? Sausage egg biscuits. Oh, they're so good. One thing I did have there somewhat recently though that wasn't too good was they gave me a bagel instead of the egg McMuffin. Instead of being on that, muffin, egg McBagel, I guess you could call it. And that was just like so undercooked. It was just disgusting. I ended up like just tossing the whole thing because you can't like take the bagel out and just eat the insides. You can't like be in the car just trying to eat eggs without like a fork or something. But
Yeah, if you don't cook a bagel good enough, it's just thick and it feels like you're just.
yeah. The other thing about pancakes though that I think is kind of odd. Like, we got the butter thing out of the way, but some people don't even call them pancakes. Like there's that whole
Flapjacks.
the flapjacks, the
Hot
griddle cakes and hot cakes and whatever. To me, it's like no, they're pancakes, but
Yeah.
I don't know like what areas classify them as what, but I always immediately assume flapjacks is going to be something from like the South or something like.
Maybe
Yeah.
I'll allow you to call it a short stack.
Yeah, okay, because it's a short stack of pancakes.
Mm-hmm.
What about silver dollar pancakes?
They're good.
No, those are delicious. Yeah, and that's something different because they're smaller.
Right.
You know what I actually love, if I'm going to go into the small territory, is the little Eggo French toasts. Specifically the French toast ones, where it's like 4 little pieces of toast that come together. How do they make it shaped like that? It's fucking amazing.
Is it shaped like little toast? Is it shaped like little toast, like the, the rounded edges and that kind of crap?
Yeah, it looks like an actual like piece of sliced bread.
See, I had the French toast crunch.
Yeah, just like that.
Did not like that. The peanut butter one too. Not a big fan.
Peanut butter crunch?
Peanut butter toast crunch.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, it's not that great.
I don't even know what peanut butter toast is.
It's toast crunch, but peanut buttery. It's the the ingredients said in the
Reese's
title.
Puffs?
What was that?
Reese's Puffs?
No, those are good.
Oh, Reese's Puffs.
Speaking of saying things weird, you guys say Reese's?
Hmm?
It's Reese's.
Okay.
It's here in Indiana, the commercial says Reese's Puffs, so it's not Reese's.
Yeah, I've always heard Reese's.
Really?
I remember the song Reese's Puffs, Reese's Puffs.
Wow, I've never seen a single commercial that said Reese's. That's weird.
Me either.
Do they like cater it to certain markets? Like,
No, it
when
must be.
you
It must
see
be
an
an
IHOP
Italian
commercial, they're gonna call it flapjacks in certain parts.
No,
National
it's an
Grill
Italian
Cake Day.
American thing. I solved the case.
It's like how the Midwest people call rooms.
Well, how do we say it in the Midwest?
Rooms.
So
So
they-
roof.
So they go to see that movie, The Room.
Yeah.
I've
Or fi-
never heard anyone call the roof the rum.
I've heard a few of them. Like you got to go up to like Minnesota or something where they have that
Oh,
really
okay.
thick
The
Norwegian
only
accent.
things that I've ever noticed is that my grandpa, he will call the creek, and he's not gonna wash his clothes. He's gonna wash his clothes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the worst I've seen when it comes to stuff like that. I could name other things if I could really think about it, but those are two off the top of my head that I could think of. So,
I'm not a big fan of that whole colloquialism thing in a lot of different areas, like the crick thing that you mentioned. Like, it just immediately reminds me of like Tom Sawyer or something. We're gonna go to the crick with Huckleberry Finn.
Yeah, it's a healthy thing to have a problem with people for.
Yeah. Well, it's not like I'm like, "Brr," so
okay, so
out over it.
So I have a question.
Shoot.
Okay, so if you were dating someone, okay.
Yeah. All right, I'm already out of this one.
No. Okay, and someone else grabs a certain part of their body. Let's say, the butt or boobs. Let's go with butt.
So basically,
would
some
you be
guy
mad?
grabbed your girlfriend's ass.
Yes. Hang on. Would you get mad at your girlfriend or the guy who grabbed it?
I would get mad at the guy, but I would also get mad at the girlfriend depending on how she reacted.
She reacted like, "What the fuck did you just do?"
Ah, then you have no reason to get mad at her.
But she thought that I should be mad at her because of that, and I was like, "Well, you didn't do anything that would have made."
She wants you to be mad at her.
Yeah, because I never get mad at her.
Girls are fucking screwy.
Yeah. Dude,
like,
no,
all right,
like
fine,
this.
you bitch.
I'm a type of guy where it takes a lot for me to like get mad at her, and she never really does anything that makes me mad.
Maybe you should try
Like, she's very quiet. She doesn't flirt with other people. She doesn't talk to other people. So there's nothing for me to get mad at when it comes to that kind of stuff. She does have a nice butt though, and I will say that much. But the thing is, like,
picture it doesn't exist.
A picture does exist.
Okay.
Miguel, it does exist. I wouldn't be talking about it if this didn't happen. So, like, the thing is, I just don't get mad that easily. There's nothing for me to get mad at. If I get mad at her, it's because she annoys me or she just does something that's relatively stupid. I'm like, why do you do that? That is dumb. Only dumb people do stuff like that.
And then she's like, yeah, I love it when you call me dumb.
It's not even like that. Fuck. You're making her sound a lot worse than what she actually is.
Women are nuts. I've never ever in my entire life wanted anybody to be mad at me for any reason. Like, even if I did something wrong, I'd rather them not know about it or like be like, it's okay or something, not be like, damn it, punish me. Like, yeah, if some guy grabbed her ass, it's like, unless she was just kind of like, hey, first guy to grab my ass wins or something. Like,
no, it wasn't even like that. He liked to try to play it off as like an accident, but I saw it through. I was like, get the fuck out of here. Though I'm not that intimidating. It was bigger than me, but trust me.
Don't say.
What about self-deprecating Mike was at the beginning of this, though? If you're dating somebody, well, fuck, Jesus, I don't have a clue.
Well, I'm out on this topic.
Tapping out, boys.
Are we talking about shitting all over ourselves?
Huh?
If that's what you're into.
I feel like Sean would have a story about that. I mean, he has a story about bread salad.
Let me tell you about something.
Yo, the bread salad comes into this. Yo, oos.
We're turning Sean into the Ryback now.
First he's Barrett, now he's
Paden linked a video in the Mega Maniacs of the Ryback thing that he did with Paul Rosenberg. But the entire time, yeah. Well, no, he did the.
We got a glitch going on, I think.
I knew him.
Anybody else glitch out there?
Yeah, I could.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah, I was wondering why Drew all of a sudden went silent.
Yeah, usually he just keeps talking and talking.
So what were you saying, Drew?
Dude, I said I wish Ryback was my best friend.
He seems like such a cool guy. Like, I to this day, I'm still upset that they gave up on him, because a guy like that could have been huge.
I don't think they've given up on him.
Well, he is pretty big.
He is the big guy.
The big guy.
The huge guy. According to Miguel. Now, Miguel, we had
all I'm saying is that he had a shot.
we had discussed before that Ryback seems like the type of guy that he would be like super fun to be around until he got on your annoying side, and then like he'd be fucking miserable. Like I think we classified him as annoying tourist
Yeah.
Ryback, where he's the type of guy that would be like, they're on the road together and he's bothering the Usos. For some reason, we specifically targeted him talking to the Usos. And it was like, yo, Us, let's stop at the Grand Canyon. Let me see how long it'll take for my spit to reach the bottom. Yo, Us, how do you think they got that crack in the Liberty Bell, huh? Stupid kind of questions like that. Like, I could see Ryback pulling that off. That annoying guy that's like, you're in the same hotel room, you're trying to sleep, and he's like, got the covers up to his head, and he's just kind of like, yo, Us, what if this was all a dream that somebody else was having?
No, he'd be like, yo, Us, I'm scared. Why? I think this place is haunted.
Us, you hear that?
Yo.
Ooh, I think it's a ghost, Us.
Oos.
No, Us, I swear. It's like, what the fuck? My name is John. Stop calling me Us.
Hey, Oos. Better not fall asleep because I'm going to put your hand in water.
Yeah.
The big guy.
No, he'd do all that, but he'd be like, hey, Us, yo, can you turn the bathroom light on? Why? Because I don't like it when it's dark in here.
No, I don't have a problem with it. I just prefer it to be on, Us.
Whatever. No, the reason why I don't work with Jericho because his lights go out at one point. I don't like that.
On top of the water bowl, he's got that thing of the shaving cream and the feather. He's just kind of like, nah, this is for tomorrow morning, Goose.
Ryback would be the best.
I wonder why there's no stories about him. Because the fucker goes through
You mean
drive
all those stories that CM Punk told?
What stories did he tell?
There's that Panera Bread one that's been played to death now.
What's that one? I don't remember that one.
He was with Dana Bryan and Cody Rhodes. They went to Panera Bread, and he's the big guy. So he was like having issues, like trying to decide what he want, and he got really pissed off because he couldn't find what he wanted apparently. But then he said on the podcast today, or that Paden link, that that story is like way out of proportion, but it did happen. Just not entirely the way Brian said it was.
I wonder if Brian and Cody are kind of like the way that we blow jokes out of proportion eventually. Like it started off and Ryback's like, what, I can't get like a cheesesteak? And it became like a situation where they're like, oh my god, you should have seen Ryback. He was throwing chairs and he's like, oh fuck, I need meat. And then he just, he went to Walmart next door, he bought a whole ham and just started eating it in Panera Bread. Like, and he's just like, yo, guys, I just was like kind of curious. I wanted a burger. They're like, Ryback went nuts. He started fucking headbutting people and, he ate like 30 scones.
Then Ryback started telling the story about how he wrestled Eddie Guerrero.
Those scones are awesome, by the way. Did you ever try them?
What?
Scones at Panera Bread?
No.
Oh, they're so good. Panera Bread's awesome.
Still waiting for some Bosco sticks.
It's true. When are you going to send them?
While you're at it, you might as well send us some pretzel sprouts, too.
Okay.
Thanks.
No problem.
All right.
Yeah, we seem to have lost Miguel.
Oh no, we lost
I
Miguel.
wouldn't say we've lost him.
He's just not. You know what I'm saying?
I could go for some pretzel sprouts, some Bosco sticks, and some Panera Bread scones.
Yeah.
Sounds like a good.
I don't think I've ever had Panera Bread.
See, I'm a picky eater, but if you take out all the stuff that I don't like, like mustard and tomatoes and mayonnaise and whatever, that stuff's like awesome. Like that cheddar broccoli soup with the bread bowl. God, it's so good.
So I remembered something I wanted to talk about. So last night on the Raw post show, we talked about horrible fast food restaurants, like which ones we thought were the worst.
Mm.
But I think that there might be a chain or a genre of restaurants that I think is even more egregious than bad fast food restaurants.
What's that?
And that is, there's this type of restaurant that has all the shitty things about fast food restaurants, but then they also decide to make you go through all the shitty things of sit-down restaurants too. I'm talking about those breed of restaurants that's like the TGI Fridays and the Chili's, or the one I went to today was called Ruby Tuesdays.
I've been to Ruby Tuesdays.
See, I didn't know if Ruby Tuesdays was a big enough chain to be anywhere else, or if it was more like a local thing.
There's a Ruby Tuesday in like pretty much every mall around me, and I've never had a single meal at Ruby Tuesday that I thought was worth the money. Like the last time that I went there, I had a coupon, and that was the main reason why I went, because it was just like, you know what, this is going to take off like the majority of one of the meals. And my girlfriend at the time, her meal was like they botched it and they needed to take more time to cook a different one. Like they just, came out and was just like, we didn't do it right. We're going to be a while. And I had ordered a steak and it came out like completely bloody. And I order steaks medium well. So I was just like, you need to cook this again. Like you didn't do it the first time. And they're like, yeah, sorry about that. Like, and the salad bar that they've got there is horrible. It's like a couple of things of uncooked broccoli, and that's it.
Ugh.
Just terrible.
Nasty, crispy ass fucking broccoli.
Actually, you know what? I did have one thing at Ruby Tuesday that was good, and that was actually another thing that they had screwed up. I had ordered a thing of steak and a potato, and it was supposed to come with lobster macaroni and cheese, and they gave me a lobster tail instead. I had it for takeout.
Ooh.
And I was like, hey, I didn't get the lobster mac and cheese. Like, the main reason I really wanted to try this was to try their lobster mac and cheese. You gave me a lobster tail instead, so, what's up? Kind of like, can I get that added on or something? Like, just a little thing instead of having to order another whole fucking meal.
Yep.
And that was thankfully one of the instances where they were just like, no, just come back and we'll give you, a container of that. And I'm like, all right, cool. So I got a free lobster tail, but
I had that happen a couple weeks back at Taco Bell. They completely ruined
They
my.
gave you a lobster tail?
No. They got every part of my order wrong for breakfast. I ordered like the sausage burritos for breakfast. Those sausage burritos they have, and they gave me like bacon tacos, and I'm like, this isn't even like not even right. Not even the same two things.
Sure,
It's
they
like,
fucking had that.
yeah, and then it was and then they're like, just keep it. We'll give you your real order and you can have those. So I got like double the food I was expecting.
that is kind of awesome though, because they have to just throw the food away, so they just figure take it,
Yeah, they let me just have it. So I was able I got sausage burritos and bacon tacos.
See, I had a similar thing happen where my friend ordered, we ordered from a local Italian eatery, which is bomb. Mama Teresa's, if Silent Would Doom is listening, he knows what's up with them.
Wow.
We all ordered like our own little thing. I think we ordered like a pizza. No, we didn't order pizza. We all just ordered our own thing. Like we all ordered sandwiches mostly, and then my one friend who's like a health nut ordered a salad. But they misheard what salad he wanted, and I guess they thought he wanted a salad pizza. So they brought this like whole fucking it's like this expensive ass salad pizza. Like I didn't even know this thing existed, where it's like pizza crust and then it just has like salad with salad dressing on top of it.
That sounds disgusting.
And like obviously it wasn't like when he handed it to us, like, wait, who ordered a pizza? And then we opened it up, it's like, what the fuck is this shit? And then like yeah, so they were like, oh sorry, we'll bring you your actual salad, and we just got that for free. But nobody fucking ate it anyway because it was stupid.
Salad pizza? Like,
I mean, it's at least it's not like solid bread or anything.
Yeah. I'm convinced you got to really try hard to ruin a pizza. Like pizza's one of those great things that you really got to go out of your. Yeah, no, you know what? I could actually, I wouldn't mind a pizza, salad pizza. I could dig that. I mean, it would basically just be a vegetarian pizza at that point. But for me, you really got to go out of your way to make a pizza inedible, because I'll.
Or you just got to leave New York.
Yeah. Yeah, I lived in Jersey for half my life. I know what it's like to have good pizza. It's been a while.
God,
I mean, I even like anchovies and red onions on my pizza. That's actually really good.
Well, that's a matter of taste of what toppings you like. I'm talking about like we know how to fucking cook a pizza around here.
Oh yeah.
Like, seriously,
Yeah.
what the hell's the deal with that? I went out to Minnesota. Like, dude, I'm sorry to anyone who lives in Minnesota. I mean, your life in general sucks having to live out there in the fucking cold and all that shit. And the only thing you got to do out there is go to the Mall of America or Red Lobster.
Brock Lesnar would say differently.
But Brock Lesnar just lives in his cave the whole time and bangs stable and drinks Coors Light. So good for him.
Yeah.
But oh man, I forget what I was talking about.
I got a
Pizza,
question then since
salad.
I got a question then
Fuck
since
that.
I want to throw it to you guys out there. New York style or Chicago style?
New York. Of
New York.
course.
New
Yeah.
York. Yeah. I'm not a huge fan of
there-
deep dish.
There's a new Chicago-style pizza place that opened in Indy, and it's like a 4-hour wait most nights to get there.
Is it called Pizzeria Uno's? Because that place fucking
Oh
sucks.
God. that's
No,
stupid.
no,
I
no,
hate
no,
that
no.
place.
It's some like Italian name, like it's super Italian name.
Baba da boopy.
Pizza apparently is really good though, but it's not as good as Gramboli's pizza.
Oh yeah,
Shout
that's
out
what I
to
was talking
Grandma
about. Minnesota pizza fucking sucks.
What was it like in Minnesota? Minnesota.
Pizza?
Yeah, like was it like they're like, well, we don't have mozzarella, so here's cheddar and like
No, the cheese definitely was bland and tasteless, and the crust was like chewy.
Mm.
oh.
Yeah.
So we got another person on the line here, Calen Bruce. What's up, Calen?
Hey, what's happening, guys?
Oh my god!
Oh! What's
Oh,
happening?
Hey, look, it's Lenny.
hey.
Hey, I was hoping you guys would get to that. I posted it in the chat room last night about the New York versus Chicago deep dish, and I'm glad you finally addressed that. That's a very important issue.
Oh, this is
Yeah, we totally wanted to hear what Drew had to say.
Yeah, thanks,
This is.
Drew. Good point, Drew.
He's like, I'm so glad to be talking about this. I'm just gonna chuck my mic.
His mic committed suicide.
It's like, oh god, he's talking again.
it did.
Drew, you back here?
Yeah.
You cut out again. Something might be messed up on your end. I'm not sure. Or
No, it's you, Tony. I don't fuck up unlike you.
Yeah, if I cut out again, by the way, it's because my internet's been dropping for some reason within the past few days. It's always at night. For some reason, my internet just decides to not work. So if I drop out again, that's why.
What do you think your internet is? The base?
I'm willing to bet it's either the base or it might be the actual box that they gave me. I might have to go replace it.
Fucking Christ, Miguel.
you all about that base?
Apparently not.
You all about that box?
Wait, I thought you meant the actual like base that's for the area, like the main
You sure
cable
you're not
base.
white?
No, unfortunately, that would be easier to justify. At least if I was white, I could say, well, that's why. I mean, I have no justification.
Maybe it's Comcast. Wait, do
No,
you
I
have
have
Comcast?
No, I have Bright House. It's a local thing.
I'm convinced, by the way, going back on the Comcast thing, that they do rolling blackouts.
Like on purpose?
Yeah. I'm totally convinced that they do
Just to
this.
like let you know who's in charge?
To like make sure that they can cut down on different usage. Just be like, well, you know what? This person doesn't use it around this time period all that much, so let's cut their connection a little bit.
Well, it also is about what service you're using and what backbone they use. I know Netflix for the longest time had an issue because the servers that host them weren't paying usage fees to Comcast, so they would like drop their service to Netflix like down to nothing.
Oh yeah, they can't do that anymore though.
Speaking of that whole topic, what do you guys think about the net neutrality stuff that's going on right now? I think that this is amazing, and I love that the Comcast response to this was, oh, well, then we'll fucking sue you. And then immediately afterward, they got sued for $20 billion.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
That's such a great fuck you to them. It's like, you don't want us to manipulate everybody and be assholes? Well, then we're going to be more assholes. And, oh, shit, now we got another bill.
The big company's biggest argument against this is that, well, we've been building our infrastructure under this class 1. Why? How could you possibly switch this up under us? And the rebuttal to that is, well, actually, we've been telling you we'd be probably going to be doing this for about 5 years now. So sucks for you.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
give them adequate
And also,
time.
like, what's really different? Like, What's all that different? You know what? That they've actually had super high-speed fiber optics run under most, like, major areas for, like, 20 years now. Right.
Yeah.
We haven't been fucking using it. Like,
it's dark fiber. There's actually websites devoted to maps that are just dark fiber. I mean, Paden, you live in the New York area. There's miles of dark fiber that no one's using right now because the cable companies don't want to have to put the infrastructure in to use them. I mean, it's there. You know, if somebody were to just put a couple $1 million in to connect their services to it, that whole area could just be lit up with fiber optic networks.
Well, I mean, it's the same thing as it is with all technology and with cures for medicine too. Like, I read something the other day that said that they've got a processing chip that can get download speeds of 1 terabyte per second. And they're just like, people don't need it. It's like, no, they want to do the rolling, like, we're going to roll this out, and then we're going to upgrade to this, and then we're going to upgrade to that, because there's more money in that. And it's such a stupid way that this world works. Like,
no, it's the way this country was built, man. Same thing with the car. You know, the original carburetors were built to get 40 miles to the gallon. They're like, fuck that shit. We're not going to let these cars do that. We need to make money with gas.
Right.
And then electricity, when they were building the grid. You know, I mean, I could go on for days talking about Nikola Tesla and the abuse he got. He had a way for people to get free wireless energy. In the early 1900s, free wireless energy everywhere. There was a plan for it. And they said, nah, let's go with this guy who made these commercials electrocuting elephants.
Plus, he was pretty good in the Prestige.
That's why I'm so happy we have companies like Google that are kind of forcing their hand with the fiber networks that they want to open up in different cities. I mean, they're now that the net neutrality thing is out, they're going to start really rolling out, and you're going to start seeing them in more big places. I mean, I think for a while they've been wanting to get into the New York area, but I know the way that works is the way that the New York area works, and Verizon learned this the hard way, is you can't cherry pick the neighborhoods you want, like the way Google's been doing. If you choose to support the New York area, you got to support all 5 boroughs. You can't just say, I'm just going to give it for this area. You have to legally support all service for all 5 boroughs. That's why Verizon unfortunately got into a lot of trouble, because they were able to get a contract for that and realized we don't have enough money to roll out to all 5 boroughs.
See, what worries me about the Google thing, though, like, they do awesome stuff. They bring out some brand new technologies and everything, but they still can't figure out a way to update the interface of YouTube without fucking up Blogger. So I trust them in a lot of different ways, but I don't trust them when it comes to, obviously, customer service or having their head on straight with a lot of the shit that they do, because, you know, they botched Google Plus and Google Wave and Google Buzz, and
to be fair, those are completely different sectors of the company, though.
Yeah, I mean, they're all run by different types of people and stuff.
Some things are going to be hits and misses. Not everything's going to stick.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, Google Maps is amazing.
Let's be fair, though. They got into Google Plus like a year or two after Facebook really started to hit big. There was no way you were going to stop that. I mean, some companies are just so entrenched and pretty much set the standard for their business that even if you've got a big name company coming in, they're just not going to topple them. You know, so I'm not surprised Google Plus kind of flopped in a sense, because I mean, Facebook was just huge. I mean, we're talking the late 2000s at this point.
I think Google Plus is more of YouTube than YouTube is of Google Plus, to be honest with you, from the sole purpose of,
What?
I'm saying that YouTube is more of Google Plus than Google.
I think YouTube is more Google Plus than Google Plus is YouTube.
I didn't follow that either.
That was a fucking great.
I think what Drew was trying to say was that they've integrated Google Plus so much into YouTube that the only way you can use YouTube is you have to go through Google Plus. It was the same way when I
they got rid of that.
No, to an extent. I mean, when I set up my channel recently, I had to do all of my changes through Google Plus in order for them to affect YouTube.
Well, that's probably because your account's already tied, but they got rid of that. You can completely have a separate YouTube account again.
Yeah, thank God.
Okay.
No, I was just saying that, like, you know, like a lot of the stuff that you do on Google YouTube, like the commenting system and stuff, technically it still works on the way of, like, it'll show up on Google Plus and that kind of stuff. That's what I was getting at more than anything. Like, YouTube is essentially Google Plus. Like, that's what Google's biggest thing is.
And I've actually was reading an article the other day about how they're phasing out a lot of things from Google Plus into other services. Like, I guess one of the best things that they had with Google Plus was the picture galleries. Yeah. So they're moving that into another service like called Google Stream or some shit like that. I forget what it was called.
Back Picasa.
Yeah.
See, Google Plus is like, if they used that as like a central hub for where all your online activity can go, that could work, but not as a social platform where you can like really talk to people and stuff. I don't know a single person that actually like has conversations on there.
I remember when it was coming up. I remember when Google Plus was coming up, and everyone was sending out the invites and stuff, and everyone's saying, "Oh, it's going to take over Facebook in less than a year." Google's the way to be. and everyone, people, some of my friends were making fun of me for not joining Google Plus yet, and I'm like, I got Facebook. What do I need that for? And then we see how it is today.
Yo, but you never know, man. That you can say that now in hindsight, but MySpace was once a big thing too, and Facebook was just this gimmicky thing that only college people could sign up for.
Actually, it was businesses, wasn't it?
No, it was colleges, because that's what it was called, Facebook. Because Facebook was essentially like what they used to call yearbooks,
right?
Yeah. And that's why they went with that.
Come on, have you not seen The Social Network? Jesus.
Actually, I haven't. I really
no,
should.
But in defense of Miguel, I think the first people they did open it to after college people was businesses, and then they opened up public.
Yeah, I know that I couldn't get in for a while because I wasn't, in a college that it recognized.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I think when I signed up for Facebook, I signed up because I had an Apple email address, and that's why because you had to have a company email address in order to sign up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you know what? To be fair though, when it comes to MySpace, that whole environment was such the wild, wild west that it's kind of funny to see how they even got popular in the first place. Like, I remember early MySpace when those, people could like, modify everything on their platform. So you'd have pages that were just hideous.
Oh my God, the backgrounds and the fucking music and shit.
That music was terrible. You'd click on somebody and they'd be like, and you're like, oh fuck, this is hurting my ears. Terrible. Man, I'm so glad that you can't do that on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
I know I've always been one of those late adopter people. I've never been one of the early adopters. So I'll wait until something is like tried and true until I even take a venture into it. I don't know if it's just I'm not adventurous
you're boring is what you're saying.
I guess so. In a way, I'm kind of old and stubborn and crotchety. Stuck in
you're a sheep. You're not a herder. You're the sheep.
Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it pays to do that a lot of the time. Like, I remember people were going nuts buying Blu-ray players, and it was that whole Profile 1 and Profile 2 and all that other kind of crap, and I was looking at that, and people are spending like $600 for what ended up becoming a shitty Blu-ray player. And I'm like, I'm going to wait like 2 years and get one. And I ended up getting like, the one combo that I've got right now, the one that, I had all those problems with Comcast on, was, I think $150, and it's Blu-ray with the surround sound system built in.
Yeah, I mean,
shit, that's a lot better than spending 3 times as much money for one that has no internet connectivity whatsoever.
It's just like the old DVD players. You go back and buy a DVD player or look for one from like the mid 90s. My parents have one that's like all metal. It's massive.
Yeah.
The remote's about the size of a brick. But I mean, those, then you fast forward to like 3 years later, they're coming out with DVD players that you could literally just balance on your finger, like they were tiny. It's just technology, how that works.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing is I don't want to buy the inferior technology, like with with like Blu-rays. You remember for a while, it's like 2006 or 2008, somewhere in there. It was between Blu-ray and HD DVD, and they're like, which format's going to win? The PlayStation had one, the Xbox had the other, and I don't want to spend, hundreds of dollars on something if it's just going to be obsolete in 6 months.
Well, the funny thing is they built up that war, and then, HD DVDs went out, so people were like, Blu-rays won, but then they didn't because everything was going digital.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, it's all streaming, so.
Yeah, like if that would have been a couple years ahead of time, it would have made a huge difference. Now, a lot of people are like, well, I'm not going to buy the DVD or the Blu-ray or whatever. I'm just going to, go on Netflix and watch it. Or
I kind of want to go back and, like, buy an HD DVD player and just make that, like, have that be, like, a collection.
You have an Xbox 360?
I'm not, well, yeah, if I had an Xbox 360, I'd get that. But, I mean, just to be able to have that collection, because it seems like almost like a treasure hunt now that there's a finite number of different HD DVDs you can get. Just to say that I have it,
When that was all happening, I was rooting for Blu-ray so much because I was just like, I can see this being a problem where nobody wants to say HD DVD, and people are just going to be like, it's a DVD, and expect you to think that it's the HD one, or they're going to call it HDVDs or something. Like, it's going to be such a mess. Like, Blu-ray's so much easier to roll off the tongue, and once that ended up happening, I was like, all right, I'm not going to hear a bunch of idiots.
Sounds cooler, too. Blu-ray.
Ray.
Like a ray gun, it's blue.
A Stingray, but blue one.
I still say that had the Xbox 360 had HD DVD players built in, like if they revolved the console around that format, it probably would have won.
The 360?
Yeah, if they built the 360 from the ground up as an HD DVD player, like if the actual games took advantage of HD DVDs and whatnot, they probably would have muscled out Blu-ray to an extent. I mean, we're talking about the Xbox 360, which at that time was huge.
The problem was that Blu-rays was a format that was backed by Sony, and HD DVDs was Magnavox?
Panasonic.
And Panasonic was already so faded by that point. Like when they were in the 80s, they were the ones who made VHS, weren't they?
Yeah.
Panasonic. So I mean, it was different when they were back then. Panasonic was a big deal. Panasonic after 2000 was like not important.
Wasn't there also something with the porn industry?
Yeah. Basically, what happened was Sony refused to give out licenses for Betamax recording for porn.
Huh.
They wanted to keep a clean standard, and it basically became one of the biggest flops of history because of that. Which is ironic because if you look at the specs of Beta, it's not a bad format. I mean, depending on how you record with it, it's actually slightly better than Blu-ray.
Mm-hmm.
Damn it, my porn ain't in Blu-ray. God damn it.
No, I mean, not Blu-ray.
VHS.
Beta, yeah.
VHS.
Compared to VHS. Whatever, I'm sticking with DVHS.
I know what you mean. I like Laserdisc.
Yeah, I'm sticking with VHS.
No, I said DVHS.
I don't know about you guys, but my VCR is still flashing 12.
What is that? That Philips video game console that was just essentially a CD player.
CDI.
See, that's like being the kid who bought a CDI instead of a Nintendo 64.
Or you could be the kid who got the Jaguar.
Oh yeah,
I don't even know what the Jaguar is.
Yeah.
That's an Atari. It's an Atari. That's a console that essentially fucked them over.
Oh my god, just Google Atari Jaguar controller. I think it's fucking
that's the worst.
So horrendous.
Oh no, the Jaguar, they announced it at E3 and they were like, yeah, by the way, it is now available.
Yeah,
it's horrible. Only buy it at like 2 places essentially. And it was like
was that the Jaguar? I thought that was the Saturn. I know the Saturn did that.
They bolted.
Yeah.
The Jaguar,
But if you were,
what should we call our console? The generic name for things that we think are cool.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, at that time, Atari was naming all their stuff after cats. They also had the Lynx, which was.
Did they have the Wildcats?
But before that, they were always like numbers, so it was kind of weird to like do that.
I don't know. I feel like the Atari 2900,000 would be weird.
Well, no, they would have named it the Atari 64, since it was the first quote-unquote 64-bit console.
So what do you guys think the next one's going to be called?
The next
like set of systems. Obviously, PS4, PS5, like that kind of stuff's going to keep going. But they did weird things with the Xbox One. They went kind of weird with let's go with the Wii and the Wii U, and what are we going to get for those two things?
The Wii U, the next Nintendo console, they definitely have to revamp themselves and make them more of like a competitive side instead of like the family friendly kind of stuff.
Well, family friendly's been working for them for a while. The big
question it didn't work that well with the Wii U though.
Yeah,
big question
they're profitable. There's not a problem with it. Just because they're not as big of a market share doesn't mean anything. They've got a really good niche market carved out for themselves, and they shouldn't try to stray from that too much. I agree. They should try to get a little bit more mainstream, but they shouldn't try to like alienate what they have either. It's a fine line they have to straddle there.
They're gonna get edgy. It's gonna be the Wii. Fuck you.
I mean, they actually hit on a gold mine with this whole amiibo thing. Like they really struck gold with being the first console to really back that whole figure game.
Skylanders.
Well, I said console. The first
Yeah.
one to really put their base their console around that concept, because everybody else was doing the whole motion sensing thing, and
already did that last gen, guys. We're moving on.
Do any of you guys have the Wii U?
I do.
We both do. Do you still play it, or what games do you have?
I just played Smash Brothers the other night.
Yeah, he didn't win that tournament that he said he was gonna win.
Yeah, well, at least I fucking played. Where were you, coward?
I wasn't a coward. I just could. Yeah, I was too late to signing up. I would have easily took Bitch's spot. So.
Ooh, shots fired.
Yeah, but
no, in all seriousness, I play that. I sometimes play Mario Kart 8 still. I haven't played it that much recently.
I still play New Super Mario Brothers. That's still fun. When I have a bunch of people together, I'll play Rayman Legends. Even Nintendo Land still has some funny mini games in it.
You should play Blu-ray Man Legends.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Right now, I'm just waiting for Zelda. I mean, that's going to be the reason to really own a Wii U.
Yeah.
Is the new Zelda.
The next Zelda, and as much as I don't like Mario Party games as much as I used to, I won't mind getting the new one that they're coming out with.
Nope.
Yeah, I had the game one until Gibby shut that off, and I had already gotten third place. But to me, the Wii U seemed like it was less of a new console and more of just like an add-on from somebody who's not like into that kind of thing. Like
they moved
away from the Wii remote a little bit there, and they went with that weird ass they went with like the 3DS sort of thing where essentially you have the bottom screen in your hand and your television screen would be the top screen, which was fine. But I guess it doesn't really catch on as much because I guess handheld gaming at this point is getting not necessarily they've kind of taken a backseat to mobile gaming on phones nowadays, and I think that's what the issue is with the Wii U.
The problem is that the gimmick is not strong enough to really center the console. What I mean is that in the case of the Wii, their whole motion control thing was the cornerstone of like a majority of their library. For this one, there's not that many games that really put the functionality of having two screens front and center. It doesn't dominate the games like in the previous generation.
They don't need to. And that's the nice thing about the Wii U is as opposed to the Wii where the gimmick was so in your face, the Wii U, it's 100% optional. Just like with the 3DS, the gimmick of it is 100% optional. You don't need to. The problem with the Wii U is its lack of third-party support.
Yeah,
it's
that's
nothing
what I was
else.
Gonna say.
The reason they can't get all these extra big titles on there is their single biggest problem, and that's why they're surviving on their first parties, which they forever will. Nintendo will always exist because of Mario, because of Zelda, because of Donkey Kong, because of Mario Kart, because of Mario Party. They will always be able to make consoles for that alone. But if they're ever going to truly compete, they need to find a way to solidly get Call of Duty on there. And they had Black Ops 2 as one of the first releases on it. It actually was a pretty good version of it that they had on there, with the exception of they didn't get all the DLC maps, which pissed me off. Rayman Legends was actually originally supposed to be an exclusive on there. That's another thing they have to work on getting is more big exclusives. But they lost that and ended up going to all consoles.
I give them credit for netting that deal to get Bayonetta 2 as a Wii exclusive. That was a big coup for them, and it's paid off for them. They need to do more second-party support, which is where, for those of you that don't know, it's where you buy up a third-party company and they make games under your production.
Kind of like Naughty Dog.
Yeah. Naughty Dog is a second-party developer for Sony, that's basically what's been keeping Microsoft and Sony afloat on their consoles. Is they basically opened up their wallets and were like, let's buy up all these companies before they go third-party and have them make games specifically for us. Ever since the whole third-party exclusives thing kind of died out in the previous generation, you don't really see that anymore. You don't see a third-party company dedicate themselves to one console. It's usually second-party or all consoles.
Now, keeping this train of thought going, Angela had brought up a suggestion of what we could talk about, and this goes right into it. She said, what consoles did we have as kids, and what were our favorite video games from our childhood? I think we all probably had our Game Boys and stuff like that. I had Game Boy and Game Boy Pocket. Never got a Game Boy Color. I also had Nintendo, Super Nintendo. I did originally have a PlayStation 1, and I wasn't too fond of it, and I traded it in for an N64 back at Funko Land was this place before GameStop existed.
Old days.
And then I eventually got a PlayStation 2, and that was the last one that I ever had. Oh, I had a Sega Game Gear too, because
sucker.
Yeah. Well, that was the only way that I could play Sonic games, because I wasn't going to go out and buy a whole Sega Genesis at that point. And,
Should have.
I probably should have, but I probably only would have played Sonic.
That's all you fucking needed to play.
I had a friend that had...
All right.
Oh, God. Sorry about that, everybody. Gonna have to try to...
That wasn't me. I don't know what the fuck that was.
No, that was Drew. Something's going on with that end. I'm going to have to edit that out, possibly, if I get a chance to.
Thank you.
Thanks. Anyway, talking about video game consoles, the one that I grew up playing a lot was the Atari 2600. That was so much fun, and it's so primitive. But the one that I really fell in love with, the one that like formed my childhood of video game love, was the original NES. Playing the original Zelda and Super Mario Brothers, and all those classic titles. I just played the shit out of that console. Like, I don't know how many hours I spent every day on that thing. That was like basically, God damn it, Drew. What is his problem?
What is your major malfunction?
Yeah. So anyways, I don't know. I was saying something about video games, but yeah.
The NES was the main thing for you?
Yeah, that was the one. I mean, I played so many of those games, and then of course I was mostly a Nintendo kid growing up, so I had the Nintendo and then the Super Nintendo N64 and all that. I never really got into PlayStation until the PS2 came out, and the main reason I bought that is because it had a DVD player on it. I thought, well, shit, even if I don't find any good games, I'll at least have a DVD player.
Right.
And that was...
Stop. Oh
my God.
Come on, Drew, get it together.
Thank you.
We might have to just completely boot him out of the call.
Call back.
He has to restart his computer. Like, that's...
Yeah.
But anyway, speaking about like the technology before and stuff about the Blu-ray versus HD DVD, I think that was one of the reasons why the PS2 was so successful, because that was around the time, the early, late 90s, early 2000s, when DVD was just, still kind of a newer thing. And a lot of, it's like you could buy a $300 DVD player, or you can buy, for around the same price, buy a gaming system that also plays DVDs. So I think that was one of the big reasons that was so successful.
Plus, with the PS2, it was backwards compatible. So, like,
Yep.
I still had some of my old PlayStation games that I just, had forgotten to get rid of and stuff.
Fuck you, Drew. Jesus Christ.
Oh, my God. This is a mess. So we start off this whole thing with me being unable to connect to BTR, then me getting screwing up a thing on BTR, then this, and then this, and then this, and oh my God. Thankfully we don't have a whole lot of live listeners. We got someone to do him listening in if he's not passed out from drinking and everything. But
there he is.
Passed out from drunk.
Passed out from drunk. Cause of death drunk. Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I got a PlayStation 2. One of the other main reasons was at the time that I bought it, I was just like, oh man, they've got a new James Bond game, Agent Under Fire. I'm so fucking down, because GoldenEye is like my favorite game of all time. And having that like immediately packaged in with it so I could just, hook it up, start playing that game was just awesome. The DVD thing was a huge factor in that, though. And that ended up being the last console that I ever owned, because I just got to a point where, I'm busy. I'm not the biggest gamer in the world, so I wasn't going to drop hundreds and hundreds of dollars to play games that I didn't really want to play, because that also was in an era where I could rent a game, because you could rent games from Blockbuster back then, and beat the game in a couple days, and then I don't need to spend $60 to buy it. Like, I would get Ultimate Spider-Man, awesome game, or Star Wars Battlefront. Like, we were playing that during the marathon and stuff. You play those games, you beat them in a few days before you return it. Like, save a lot of money that way. So I only really owned about 5 games for PlayStation 2, and that was that one Bond game, the one Spider-Man game, Vice City. I think I had some other stupid Bond game or something, like maybe Nightfire or something like that. But do you guys ever have that little thing that you could connect the Game Boy to the SNES?
No, I never had an SNES.
Did you ever have that, Calen?
Super Game Boy, like you could just put the game cart in there, or what?
Yeah, like you could play Game Boy games on the Super Nintendo.
Yeah, I never had it myself. Some of my friends did, but I always wanted it, But I had the Game Boy, so I could just play them on the Game Boy itself. But yeah, there was a thing that you could plug that into. It was like an adapter, and then you plug that into the other one, and you could play it on the TV. I thought it was a cool idea.
I borrowed that from a friend of mine when I first had gotten the Pokemon games. I specifically remember I'm like playing that on there, and he's trying to walk me through because I'm like, what the fuck do I do with this game? Why do I have to like tell this old scientist what his grandson's name is? I'm confused. On the topic of the consoles, what did you used to have, Paden?
My earliest memory of having a system is for the original NES, mainly playing Mario, Duck Hunt, and the original Zelda, RBI Baseball, probably a few other games that aren't coming to mind. But the first system I had completely on my own in my room was a Sega Genesis. Man, did I play the shit out of that. Man, I'm telling you, you could put so much time into just playing Sonic games. Sonic 1, Sonic 2, Sonic 3, Sonic and Knuckles, Sonic Spinball.
I never liked that one.
Oh, Sonic Spinball was fantastic. There's so many damn good games that are just on Sonic alone. But then you had so many other cool games. You had Streets of Rage. Fucking fantastic series. There was 3 of those. You had Earthworm Jim, which was a totally fucking badass game.
That was for Super Nintendo too.
Yep.
Yeah, but it was better on Sega Genesis. You know what else was on Super Nintendo and also was better on Sega Genesis?
Mortal
Aladdin.
Aladdin. I knew you were going to say that.
Fucking Aladdin. Aladdin.
Oh, yeah.
One of the most underrated games of all time. Seriously, Aladdin kicks fucking ass. If you never played Aladdin on Sega Genesis, that game fucking rocks. But yes, Mortal Kombat, also better on Sega Genesis because that's where you could put in the blood code and get blood in the game. So,
speaking of codes and Aladdin, I still remember to this day, Genie, Jafar, Aladdin, Apu was one of the codes that you punch in to go to skip the stage because there was that shitty fire stage that I always hated.
That was the worst.
The password after that one.
And if I remember, like there's a point on the Aladdin game you hit ABBA, and you get something too. I think you get like an extra Apu coin or something like that.
Apu, you get the Simpsons to show up. You get a Chief Wiggum award.
But after the Sega Genesis, I remember I got a Nintendo 64 for Christmas one year. I was like Nintendo 64 kid, yeah. Man, the first time playing Super Mario Brothers in 3D just blew my mind. I actually played it at a store the very first time I played it, but holy shit, just a whole different experience. I can't think of any other time I felt like that in video games, where I felt like something had advanced that much so far in such a short time. Loved my N64. Obviously, GoldenEye, even Wave Race was a really fun game. I played a lot on there. I never got a PS1. I actually was remaining true to Nintendo with that Nintendo 64 for a long time until the PS2 came out. I decided to go with the PS2 instead of a GameCube because the GameCube was fucking whack. PS2 was fun. Again, the big decision for me was also the DVD because I didn't have a DVD player, and I was like, cool, something I can watch DVDs on. I could even still listen to CDs on it because that was still fucking relevant. Listening to CDs, right. Way to get it to go through my surround system that I had hooked up to it. So it was a really versatile little system to have there. And I made the mistake the next gen. Well, first off, I still remain true to Nintendo. I was an early adopter for a Wii, and I actually like the Wii. I feel like it's an overhated system. I'm an early adopter of a Wii U too as well. I got that really early on in its life, and I like it too. I think it's a solid system. Mistake I really did make, though, was I went and got an Xbox 360. And I don't know why. It was just like an impulse decision on a Black Friday that I bought an Xbox 360. And I played it a decent amount, mostly because of the world of games that was opened up to me not being a Nintendo person anymore. But I don't know. Something just didn't feel right about it. Eventually I turned it in, got a PS3, and suddenly video games were fun again. Even though I was playing a lot of the same games, video games were so much more awesome again. Sometime late last year, I picked up a PS4. I love that system. Unfortunately, there's not a ton of games for it right now, so funny enough, I'm still playing my PS3 right now. Like literally as we're on this podcast, I'm playing PS3.
What game?
Skyrim.
You're still stuck on that?
Skyrim's a shit.
Here's a funny story when it comes to consoles and not getting certain ones and waiting and being a general idiot on my part.
One time that you didn't get anything else besides your PS2?
No. I remember I went to Blockbuster around the time that the N64 was like brand new. Like it was maybe, I don't know, a couple weeks old at that point. And I ended up asking the wrong person that like unknowingly fed into my stupidity. I was like, hey, do you got that new Mario game, but does it come out for Super Nintendo instead? Just, stupid little kid question. Expecting it to be Nintendo 64's Super Mario. And the guy's just like, oh yeah, here it is. And he hands me Super Mario RPG. And I was like so excited to play this game. And I got home and I'm just like, what the fuck is this?
That game's awesome.
Like I knew that the beginning of Super Mario 64 was that head and that you had the 3D graphics and stuff like that. Never occurred to me that like how would I play this game without the fucking analog stick or any of that kind of information, And I was just like so disappointed. Like that was one of those just like, oh, I'm
Please
an
tell me
idiot.
you held on to it though.
Oh no, I didn't buy it.
Okay.
I played it for like the next few days and returned it and said I would never do that again.
Joke's on you. That thing is worth a fortune now.
Really?
Totally.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, then again, at that Too Many Games convention, I'm seeing people spend $80 for Donkey Kong Country, and I'm like, well, you want some of this crap? I got some of it at home. Not that Donkey Kong Country is crap. That's an awesome game. That's one of my favorite games of all time.
So you were talking about the Super Game Boy. And of course, those of us who are alive for the generation remember the very heated battle that was Sega versus Nintendo. And it still kind of exists today with Sony versus Microsoft. It's not the same. Like, no. it was a blood battle back then.
No, that was kind of like the Bloods and the Crips or the Jets and the whatever the hell they are in that
Sharks.
stupid-ass movie. Yeah.
Well, while Super Nintendo had the Super Game Boy, Sega had something that was so fucking far ahead of its time.
Yes.
The Sega Channel. Holy
that's crazy.
Fucking shit was the Sega Channel awesome, and I was a spoiled little brat, and I fucking had it, and it was awesome. Every month, as a matter of fact, later on in its lifespan, twice a month, you would get a whole menu of fucking games that you could just play, streaming, like, whatever the fuck you want. You just go to the menu and like, oh, I feel like playing Road Rash. You press Road Rash, and you wait like maybe like 2 minutes sometimes for the game to load, but like, so what? And then all of a sudden it just starts playing on your fucking screen. Bam, I'm playing Road Rash. But if I get bored, I restart my system and boom, I can start loading up Earthworm Jim and I'm playing Earthworm Jim. Holy shit, that was so fucking cool.
I'm really sad that they never brought that they never brought that technology to the Dreamcast. That could have saved that console.
I don't remember the Sega Channel. I just looked it up, but I don't remember. I've always been a Nintendo kid, so like when it was Nintendo versus Sega and Sega had those ads, Sega does what Nintendo don't. But with Angie, she had the Sega growing up, and she was like, "Oh, tell them that I played Aladdin and Echo. She loves Echo the Dolphin and the Aladdin game." And so she was the Sega kid, I was the Nintendo kid. So like I don't even remember this fucking Sega Channel, but I mean it sounds like it would have been cool.
Basically what it was is you would connect your Sega Genesis to your cable connection and then you could just stream through there. And this was way before
cable internet.
This was
before.
This is why when you wanted to connect the internet, you had to go to the.
This is before most people even had the internet. Period.
Did it connect through a phone line, or how did it do it?
No, it connected through your RF signal.
You would get a split on your cable line. You would have one go near your TV or your cable box still, and then you would have one going into this. It looked like a really giant Sega Genesis cartridge. Like it was just like a triple size Sega Genesis cartridge, and it's screwed into the top of it. And there was another one that went to a power source because it needed its own power, and then it just went right into your cartridge slot in your Genesis.
I don't remember that at all.
Yeah, Sega, for all the flack it gets, really was ahead of its time with a lot of its stuff. I mean, it spent way too much at one time, and that's what pretty much killed it in the long run. But I mean, they were very innovative with a lot of the stuff, and that's, like I said, going back, it saddens me that they didn't bring the Sega Channel to the Dreamcast because it seemed like they had the infrastructure to do it. They were the first console to really open themselves up to a dial-up connection. I mean, it probably would have been very intensive to try to pull something off like that on a dial-up connection, But I mean, even if you could have like the basic principles of Xbox Live on there, or what we have now with Xbox Live, that could have really tapped into something new.
Well, why couldn't they still just do it through the cable?
Because
the freaking even the network adapter required an adapter. It's not like the system just did it. You had to hook up a thing in the little part of it, so you could just make one that takes in a coaxial cable.
I think for the last year of them, they were coming out with broadband adapters. You can hook it up to a broadband connection, which this was right when broadband was starting to come out. I don't know though how that would have worked with keep in mind, like I said, this was before we were able to use internet through cable, so I think they just didn't realize, hey, you could connect to multiple people like you would through a phone line. This was before they figured that out. I mean, back then they were literally just promoting, they were basically just providing the service like they would an actual channel. They would broadcast it through the RF. It's not like now where you're connecting a network on the back of an ISP. They didn't have those back then.
Mm.
Yeah. Drew, what kind of consoles and games did you have?
Consoles? I think the first console I ever had was the Nintendo 64.
Oh shit!
What? Make us feel old.
Yeah, we're not even making fun of you. We just feel old.
No, I remember having that.
Hey Drew, you want to know something funny? I got the Nintendo 64 the day it came out, and I was a sophomore in college.
I think I didn't even get the. I don't even think I got the Nintendo until I was like 3 or 4, so that was like 98 or 99.
Drew isn't even a sophomore in college yet.
I think
just let that sink in.
I'm not even a sophomore in college. But no, I that was the first thing I recall having, because my mom would get games from the pawn shop. Like she got Wave Runner. She got what was the game that Wave Run? I had that.
Wave Race.
Yeah, I had that. I had like Mario Kart.
Runner.
I think there was I don't know. I was trying to remember.
Sequel to Blade Runner.
Shut up. Anyways, I had that. Guys. Anyways, I had those 2 games for that. Like I had like Mario Party, just some of the basic generic games. Donkey Kong 64. Then I had a Game Boy, but the only game I really remember playing on that was Pokemon Yellow, which was my favorite Pokemon. But the issue is it fucking sucks because you go with Pikachu in the Bronx gym, you're never gonna fucking win. So yeah.
All right, so what's the best N64 game, guys? I got my idea, but what do you guys think is the best N64 game?
Easily GoldenEye.
I didn't play GoldenEye and I didn't play that or Ocarina of Time until like after like the Nintendo 64 kind of died down, like all the new consoles came out. So if I was gonna go like when I had it and I played it constantly, it would have had to been Mario Party, because that was a game I had the most fun with playing with other people. That and Mario Kart 64.
Silent Wind of Doom says Banjo-Kazooie.
That is what I was gonna say. Yes.
Same here.
Thank you. Silent Wind of Doom and Miguel, you guys know what's going on. Yeah, easily Banjo-Kazooie. I think so too. I played the shit out of that game.
No.
Banjo-Tooie was all right. I thought it was kind of disappointing, but the first one is classic. I loved it.
I actually would put them both on the same pedestal, both 1 and 2. 2 I think expanded on a lot of the gameplay, but I thought 1 was just much better written game. I mean, that was really what did it for me. Like at that point, platformers were so ubiquitous, anybody could do a half decent platformer. But the fact that they had such good writing, like actual characters that made me laugh, which was something that you just didn't really get back then, is really what sells me on that more than anything. And then this was at the peak of Rare's development cycle,
You want to know what a game that I played a lot on the Nintendo 64 was Pokemon Snap.
Oh, really? That game is like, you can't do that twice. You already did everything the first time. It's the same crap all over again.
I liked it, but there's no replay value.
No, yeah, there is. That's when you go back and what you do is just you throw Pokeballs at Psyduck. That's all you do.
Yeah, you're not taking pictures anymore. You're dicking with the scenery at that point.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I love that game. Like, that game was amazing to play. Like, I don't know why. That and Pokemon Stadium, mainly because you could hook up your
Stadium was awesome. That was a great way to, like, fuck around with the game too, because you could trade items between games. So you could do that code on red and blue and yellow, where you could do the whole missing no trick and get 99 rare candies and send that over to like gold and silver.
Hey Drew, I got a question for you since you played Snap a lot. Did you ever take your cartridge to Blockbuster to get your pictures printed out?
No, I never did that.
Oh yeah,
Did
I
that at
remember
Toys
that was
R Us too.
I didn't even know about that until like a few years ago. So I was too young.
Paden, what was your favorite N64 game?
I'm just gonna be very simple on this, and I'm just gonna say it's Super Mario 64.
Not
It's
a bad choice.
fucking such a clean game. Like everything about it is so crisp. It showed everything about that system of what it was with its opening title. Like I really don't think there was any better perfect demonstration of what the N64 was than Super Mario 64.
Yeah.
It broke so many grounds. Just like again, that first time I went, I don't even remember what fucking store it was. I think it was a Target. No, it was Ames. And I don't even know if you guys know what fucking Ames is. Ames doesn't exist anymore. It was an Ames, and I went to the back, and I saw the screen there, and there was some little kid playing it at first. And I remember watching him. It was on one of those lava levels, and Mario went onto the lava, and he, like, flew in the air, grabbing his butt, going, ha, 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 ha. I was like, whoa, it's amazing. And then, like, I remember, like, at some point, like, I wasn't paying attention. I forget what I was doing. I think I was talking to my parents or something. And Mario, like, me so tired, and falls back on his back and starts, like, snoring, and, like, just fucking blew my mind. The game was just so advanced at its time. That game is fucking perfect.
Anybody else think that there was something weird with N64 and some PlayStation games like Spyro to an extent, but I used to feel like I don't know, maybe because I wasn't used to it for a while as a kid, but that open world aspect, like, if you didn't have the music in the background, it became kind of eerie.
It was kind of like if you ever played the beginning of Super Mario 64 and you're outside of the castle and there's no music. I could kind of see that, yeah.
Yeah, like, the game specifically that used to kind of, like, not freak me out, I never had, like, nightmares over it and shit, but, like, I'd be playing it and I'd be like, this seems like it's got, like, a dark overtone or undertone to it that it shouldn't, was Glover. Like,
no, Glover,
that just seemed
Glover
like,
was supposed to.
It was?
Yeah.
Okay, good, because I just thought I was like this fucking...
No, Glover was supposed to be sort of like the anti-hero, but still, like, mad cute, but kind of like a dick.
I always just got this feeling that it was like... I don't know, like that it was supposed to be like some kiddie version of the Necronomicon or something, like that. There's these like references that I don't understand, and like the glove's supposed to be like that cut off a dead magician or something crazy, like.
Okay,
I don't
that's
know.
not exactly what it's supposed to be, but like.
Could I don't mean to cut you guys off on this, but can I eventually finish my list for like all this shit I have? Because I actually have a lot of stuff.
Go for it.
Okay. So the other day, or actually a couple months ago, I found a PlayStation 1 in one of my boxes when we moved, and I did not know I had a PlayStation 1 for like all these years. But yeah, that's a thing. So I do have a PlayStation 1. And then I had an Xbox, a PS2, a GameCube, a Wii, 360, PS3, an Xbox One, and a Wii U. Don't have a PS4 yet. I'm going to get one. By the way, Paden, we're going to play some shit on there. And then, let's see, I have a DS, a 3DS, a PSP, a PS Vita. I have a lot of shit. Like, I have too much stuff. I have too many games, to be honest with you. However, except, like, for, like, all this stuff, like, all the games I had, I think, like, the GameCube was technically my sister's, but I'm going to consider that because it was in my house. I did play with it. A couple of my favorite games was, like, SSX Tricky. Like, that game was the shit. I love that game. No, I knew the Run DMC song before that game, but that game was that was perfect. I'm so glad they brought that song back for the one of the recent SSX. And they had that, and like also my favorite game of all time, which I did end up writing an article on Fan Was Anonymous. If you guys didn't know, I was on there because I am. Well, yeah, Bully was
ass.
I really a part of me is holding out still that they'll make a second one, even though they probably
Just an
won't.
HD remake would be nice.
Yeah, well, they kind of did that with Scholarship Edition, where they just brought it onto like the 360 and the Wii U.
Yeah,
I mean, in the Wii. But like, they needed like. I wish I like just if they did the HD remake and just like add a lot more shit to it, I would be completely fine. Just imagine that game, just in like the Xbox One, PS4 world. Now that game would just kick ass. The only issue with it is that compared to like other Rockstar open world games, that world is extremely small. So they could probably do a lot more attention to detail on that compared to like some of the other games.
I think the problem with Bully was they got into so much flack from the media, and because of that they didn't make as much money as they were hoping. So it's probably a situation where it's like, well, we took a lot of flack for it, and even that controversy didn't help us like it does with all of our other games. So it's probably not worth it to make a sequel. You know, they probably don't.
The issue with that, they still did very well for that game. I mean, it was they did good enough to warrant remaking it for the 360 in a week. I don't know if it was on the PS3, but
they need to do Cyber Bully Edition now, where all you do is like post horrible things on Facebook
or thumbs down their YouTube videos.
I know they got a lot of flack for it, but I feel like that there's a difference between a game where you're barely even a bully. You're just punching people in the face.
It's kind of a dick.
You're just kind of a dick. Whereas
call it that.
If you get flack for that, but you're not getting as much flack for like the stuff you do in GTA games, then I think there's something wrong with it. Now GTA gets a lot of flack, but at the same time, GTA is a well-established game franchise, and GTA 5 is the great best-selling video game of all time now. So, well, bygones be bygones aside, it's like this. Bully is my favorite game. I hope they make a sequel, because that game is fucking amazing. I put that above GTA 4. I don't know if it's like on that same level as GTA 5, but that's still my favorite game of all time.
So what do you guys think is the best Grand Theft Auto?
5. Hands down, it's 5.
5 fucking far.
I haven't even played 5, and I gotta say
I haven't played 5.
It was San Andreas before.
That's what I would say.
But
I haven't played 5.
It's 5 now by like a country fucking mile. 5 is like just one of the most fucking amazing games. You know what? If there was another time that I was blown away like I was with the Super Mario 64, the first time I saw the 3D world, it was the first time I saw this whole concept of swapping between the 3 characters in the middle of a mission. That fucking blew my fucking mind when I first saw them show that.
Yeah, that was
general
amazing.
Grand Theft Auto. I mean, Vice City was the last one that I had played. I never even played San Andreas, let alone Grand Theft Auto 4. But, you know, somebody had written up an article on Grand Theft Auto, excuse me, about like some of the things that were announced and, you know, some footage and whatever, and I was just like, not only does this look ridiculous, just like the idea that this looks like a real fucking person and real, like, you know, the grass is moving with the wind and everything, but the fact that you can do like all these other games within them, like I remember, you know, not having proper controls for a golf game mechanics in a golf game where all you do is golf, and this is just like, you want to play some golf? Play some golf. It's Grand Theft Auto. Or you could, you know, take the cars from people, or you could blow up the cars and shoot off the tires, and then the car will act differently. Or if you don't even, yeah,
or you could fix up the car if you're a fucking car junkie.
Like in Vice City, you
amazing.
couldn't swim, and now you can swim, and there's sharks, and there's fucking treasure, and there's you know, you don't even want to walk to that part or drive. Well, just get out your cell phone, and you can get a cab, and it's like, the fuck, like the next round of this is going to be like, okay, well, now that you bought that establishment with the money that you earned from the jewelry heist that you did, now you got to pay taxes on it, and like it's going to get to the point where you're just playing life. Like they should just buy the rights to the Life board game and just call that Grand Theft Auto the next fucking one, and just be like, Life for horrible people.
Life is the Sims.
I mean, to be fair though, that's kind of what brought down GTA 4, honestly, was too much, you know, unnecessary interactivity that a lot of people said just kind of was unnecessary. I don't know, like
I was just going to mention, you only get calls every 2 minutes if you want to ask for people asking if you want to go bowling. I don't know what you're talking about.
Nico, my cousin, let's go bowling.
I'm so sorry for cutting you off. I feel like an ass.
No. I thought you were helping me with my point, actually.
On the topic of creepy things in games, though, if I would have been a little kid playing Grand Theft Auto at the time, which I probably shouldn't, because little kids shouldn't be playing these games, it probably would have freaked me out to think that you can go to the Statue of Liberty and there's a heart that you can shoot beating in the middle of it. Like, that would be kind of odd.
Well, there's always little things that people talk about in video games that were scary, that what I consider to be universally scary. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've heard podcasts and people mention the piano from Super Mario 64.
Oh yeah,
That
thing underwater that like big eel or whatever it is.
Oh yeah.
Well, what do you think is more scary? The stuff that's actually in the games, or like I don't know if you guys really like follow the stuff with like the creepypastas that people make from the video games nowadays.
Some are lame.
Depends on.
Yeah, some are lame. Some are actually really, really good. I mean, that's how a lot of games have actually been able to continue living on, is through their creepypastas. I mean,
it also created Slender Man as well, like the whole idea of him.
Well, let's go into before we get into another topic. I haven't actually said my video game stuff, so I just want to make sure.
Throw that out there.
Okay. First,
we've only got 20 minutes left, so we might not have too much of another topic, but.
Yeah.
Mention your games and stuff.
First console I ever got was an NES, but that was when I was like 4, so I don't remember anything really about it. The one that I really grew up with was the Super Nintendo, and I had all the good first run games. I had Super Mario World, I had Contra 3, I had Super Mario All Stars. I had a bunch of other games. I've added more since then as I've become a retro gamer, but yeah, I really dug that console a lot. Honestly, though, I got an N64 right after that, and I think I played that a lot more. I got to agree. Though, that Banjo-Kazooie is probably the best game on that series. Just it took the concept of Super Mario 64 and added great. It expanded the gameplay and added great story telling through it. Great characters. Really saddens me that the most recent iteration flopped so hard, but I can see why. I got a PS1. Christmas of '97. I think Crash 3 had just come out because that was one of the first games I got, that and the first Spyro. Favorite game on that console, I'd have to say Metal Gear. I know a lot of people praise Metal Gear Solid, but I played that in 2000 and just blew me away with the storytelling. I mean, it was one of the first games I played that felt like I was playing an actual movie. You know, it really had that cinematic feel. Moved on from there, got the PS2. Favorite game on that one, I'd probably say, is Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time. Just probably one of the most well-made games I've played, like, ever. I think it really just mixed great platforming, great combat, and the storytelling really... It was one of the first games to where I cared about the characters. Like, I really did care. Like, it was just so beautifully done. Moved on to that, got a PS4, and somewhere between not PS4, PS3, and somewhere between the PS3 and the PS2, I managed to get myself a Dreamcast, and I'd probably say in terms of Dreamcast, I'd probably say my favorite game on that not even right now, but I don't have a copy of this anymore because I had to give it up because it was broken, but I really dug Shenmue. Like, I really like that. You talk about
Shenmue?
Shenmue.
I'm like, is this like the next step of Echo the Dolphin, or are you just getting Shamu?
Yeah. Sega spent all their money on the licensing for that, and it didn't work out too well. But no, Shenmue was actually an open world adventure game where you walk around and you have to solve a murder. But it played a lot like GTA in the fact that you could do all this stuff in there. You could play mini games. You can fight, because it was made by the same guys that did Virtua Fighter, so it would actually use the Virtua Fighter.
So it looked like shit.
No, we're talking Virtua Fighter 3 era, so it actually looked pretty solid. It's a really progressive game in terms of the stuff it was doing. It was the first game to bring in QuickTime events before Resident Evil.
So I fucking hate it then.
Yeah, I hate QuickTime events. Speaking of Dreamcast, they lost me immediately on that controller.
Oh, the controller's great. I like the Dreamcast controller a lot.
It just seems so huge.
It's actually really natural when you actually, because most controllers are too small for me. I mean, I have big hands, but
PlayStation's controller has always been the best, I think.
Oh yeah,
Paden,
PS4 especially.
Did you have the classic Xbox Duke controller?
Oh fuck no.
Oh yeah, I
hate
did.
those.
Which one was that? Was that big bulgy one?
The huge ass Xbox controller.
The one with all the pointless buttons.
Oh, the little white ones.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those are Jesus. Ugh.
Yeah,
speaking of old games, though, I brought this up at the gaming marathon that we did. NFL Blitz.
Oh, God. The ultimate party game for me.
The only sports game that I ever owned on, like, a football, baseball, basketball, that kind of thing. Actually, no, I owned one. No. Wasn't a big fan of that one.
It's like the same thing, but with basketball. I mean...
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of basketball. That's the thing.
But you like football?
Yeah.
Oh.
I did own one Roger Clemens baseball thing.
Oh, my stepdad has a Roger Clemens baseball game.
Yeah. NFL Blitz was awesome though. Just set it to the snow mode, sliding around and everything. That game kicked ass.
I gotta debate which one I liked more, NFL Blitz or NBA Showtime, because I have that for the Dreamcast, and that's a party game. I love playing that game. For a while, I had MLB Slugfest for the PS2, and that was pretty fun.
There was an NHL one for
Hits.
NHL Hits. Was that for Xbox?
Yeah.
That one was cool. I used to play that over my friend's house all the time, and I used to check the shit out of people. That was it. Like, you know.
Yeah, the only sports game I really I tried to get into was I bought a copy. I still have it. Is NHL 2K2, because this was, for some reason, I got into hockey games for like a minute and was like, let me get one for the Dreamcast, and God, I can't go back to play that.
You
game.
want to know one type of sports game that I always, it depends if you consider it a sport, just like any type of like racing game, but not like the Need for Speed ones, like actual, whether it be NASCAR or Formula One racing. I really dig those games for some reason. I don't know.
Here's a question in the chat from Silent Way to Doom. When we were talking about the controllers, he brought this up. It's kind of interesting. He says, how did you hold the N64 controller? I learned that apparently I've been holding it weird all this time.
It depends on the game.
For the most part, you hold the two ends.
No,
most part you hold the middle.
The middle one, because of the analog. That's
Yeah.
you hold
The
it
one with your
middle-
left hand.
Yeah, I'm saying this weird. I don't mean the left side with the directional pad. I mean the left hand on the analog stick, right hand on the other thing. I said that
No,
weird.
you gotta use the middle one so you get the Z button on the bottom of it.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
You didn't say it weird. You said it wrong.
Yeah, I completely botched that the way that I botched the beginning of this podcast. No, that's how you hold it. I mean,
But that's not true. It depends on the game. Because actually, I believe WCW NW Revenge, you actually held it on the two ends. You use the D-pad to move around, and the joystick is what you used for your finishing move.
Yeah, all the THQ wrestling games did that, because that was the same thing for WrestleMania 2000 and No Mercy was D-pad for movement, analog stick was surprisingly enough for taunts and activating your finishing move.
he held it the way that I've seen other people hold it, where they hold the two ends and they reach their thumb to the analog stick, which just to me was like painful.
No,
Yeah.
you can't be doing that shit.
Yeah.
Speaking of analog sticks, I actually, I don't know if you saw this on my Facebook recently. I actually, on eBay, they actually sell third-party aftermarket analog sticks for the N64 that are built as they were for the GameCube. Like, apparently, towards the end of the N64 life cycle, if you bought like an N64 in 2000 and still had a warranty, you could send it to them, and they would actually give you this like proto GameCube analog stick to attach to your N64. Yeah, I just bought one on eBay. It's like $10 and it plays pretty smoothly. It's weird. It's like it's looser and tighter at the same time than the N64 controller. It's completely different if you're not used to that type of feeling for an N64 game, but it works really well.
See, I didn't play much GameCube stuff, and when we were doing this Smash Brothers, we were using the GameCube controllers, and I don't know. It seems like if I had gotten into it as a kid when that came out, I probably would have thought that it's great, but it's awkward to me. That yellow analog stick is like really, really sensitive in a lot of different things. Not a fan.
It needed a cap. Like, it needed a thumb cap that you could really rest your finger on.
Something like a little rubbery or something, maybe.
Just something wider than that little nipple-looking thing that it had as its tip. Like, it did. It looked like it, it looked like a nipple with a C on it. But, if it had like a wider cap on the end where you could really rest your thumb on it, I think it would have probably worked out a little bit better. I honestly just didn't like the fact that they had the Z trigger in such a clumsy spot. It just was like that little purple button above the left and right trigger.
Yeah. Now, we have about 10 minutes left in this. When we have been talking about playing old games and stuff like that, it reminded me of my nephew is 4, I think. Not too sure about that off the top of my head. Yeah, he's 4. He is getting super into the Mario Brothers, and my sister, I gave her like my Super Nintendo and stuff like that. I was just like, you take it. You've got kids. I don't. He loves the Wii U or the Wii version. I can't remember which one he has, but he would rather play the regular Nintendo ones or Super Mario World, and it's like, you know, of course, because little kids don't have any, you know, perception of like time and stuff like that. He'll be like, "Look, I got this new game. I'll show you how it works." And I'm like, "Dude, I beat this game like 1,000 times." Like, it's okay. I understand how it works and stuff, but go ahead and show me. You know, I'll pretend like I died so you can play that level and whatever.
Hey, Tony, look. If I jump right here, there's an invisible block that gives me a mushroom.
Right, and you know what the mushrooms do? They get you bigger, and then you know, you can hurt the bad guys more, and it's like, wow, that's great, buddy. What happens if you get the flower? Does it, I don't know, shoot fire by any chance? Like,
and then you showed him the warp zones, and it blew his mind.
yeah, I actually did do that with something. I can't remember what it was, but in Super Mario 3, I did like some kind of weird trick, and he just looked at me like, "The fuck did you do to break this game?" Like,
are you a wizard?
Right. I think it was when I went behind that the black curtain in the back at the end of the level, and it was just kind of like, "What happened to Mario? You destroyed Mario!" Like, but that goes to show you how much like those old games were awesome, and you know, you could still pop in something like a GoldenEye, or you could still pop in something like Super Mario 3, and you know, a little kid that should just look at that as like terrible graphics, not good, is like, this is amazing. It's the best game ever. Look, if I got the raccoon, I could fly. And, you know, do you guys end up running across that with any like little kids that you know or have?
I hate little kids, so
I'm not the biggest fan of them either, but
nah.
Drew, any like little brothers and sisters or anything that
like,
you know, you got stories like that?
I honestly blacked out for a second. Well, it's like this. My little brother, it's like this. Like when it comes to like their video game stuff.
Yeah, you know, that stuff we were talking about.
Well, my little brother, he plays on his iPad more than anything else. He has a 3DS that I've honestly used more than him, most likely. So he's not really into video games. My brother, he has a little bit of autism. So he doesn't understand the grasps of like how video games work in a way of like a controller. His hand-eye coordination is not really the best. So, and also I really don't think him playing Grand Theft Auto is the best thing ever. So I've never really let him play any of the games I've owned. So yeah, I really don't have much of a story to tell with him. My sister, we played The Sims a lot. My older sister, Calen, you know her, Paden.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, we played The Sims a lot. So, if anything, that's really the only video game. That and Guitar Hero.
I'm not a big fan of Guitar Hero. Are you guys?
Nah.
I played the shit out of the first two of them, and then the third one I got, but then I kind of lost interest. But man, the first two I was super into.
I was into like the third Rock Band, and then the first two. No, I was in the third Guitar Hero and the first two Rock Bands. That was when I was really into it. But then after that, not really.
You know what's always been really terrible? When that was really, really popular back in the day, you'd be at a party, somebody would set it up, and then there'd also be that douchebag that brought his own actual guitar, and it's like, you've got this dueling douchebag thing going of like, "Oh, dude, I'm so good at Guitar Hero," and then the other guy in the background, and he's like, "Oh, dude, I'm so good at playing Wonderwall," and like, you're just kind of like, yeah, you're both like creeping everybody out.
The way you're making them say it, "Oh yeah, look at me, I'm so good."
That's what a lot of those people do. It's just like, let me sit in the corner and try to show off and whatever.
What about related games like the rhythm get like DDR, Dance Dance Revolution? Any of you guys ever do any of that?
Over the weekend, I did see some people who play Dance Dance Revolution at a certain party.
Well, I missed that part of it.
What about Parappa the Rap? God. I don't like rhythm games.
The game that like whenever I'm at an arcade and I see a Dance Dance Revolution, I'll always attempt to play it, but I always end up embarrassing myself because I'm so fucking bad at it. That's like the only time you ever see me try it.
If I'm at an arcade, I'm playing either Pac-Man or some kind of shooting game.
Yeah. No, I remember going over to a friend's house and like not like it'd be like in high school at least, like one of my lady friends. If they would have like a Wii or they would have their brother's Xbox hook up and they'll have like Dance Central or something like that going on.
That's really off the top of my head. That's like one of the only times I really remember ever actually playing it.
When I was at an arcade, I would either be doing pinball or I would be doing one of the exactly like Silent Window said, Simpsons or X-Men or the Turtles like beat 'em ups. Those are so good.
Do they even have pinball machines in arcades anymore?
No. They do. Last time I was in Chicago, I found this really cool place that it's like a beercade. You know, they had like 50 different beers, and all the pinball games and video games were free to play, and it was fucking great. I wish we had something like that around where I live.
They have a Dave and Buster's.
Yeah.
It's not the same.
I know. You have to pay for that shit. I'm not in there, so.
So we have 4 minutes left, so we may as well throw out some plugs, and if we have a little bit of time afterward, then we can talk about whatever. But Paden, anything you want to plug out there?
Just stay tuned to everything here on Mega Powers Radio, and follow me on Twitter at MRPADEN. That's Mr. Paden for all things Mr. Paden.
Miguel, plugs?
Hey guys, sorry about that. My internet dumped out, but I'm glad to be back because I've got a new project to plug.
What?
I just recently uploaded my first video on the official Untitled Movie Show YouTube channel.
Whoa.
I uploaded
now.
What was that?
I'm looking it up now.
Yeah, if you look up Untitled Movie Show, Man of Steel, it's going to pull up our second episode, which is the second official episode. I think it was recorded January 16th, 2014. It was me and my co-host. We did a review of Man of Steel, which we were not very happy about. So it's a little bit rough. It took me forever to figure out the file format to put down that will allow me to upload it in a realistic amount of time. It took a little bit of finagling, but I finally got it up. So if you go online, go on YouTube and look up Untitled Movie Show Man of Steel. That'll be our first episode we posted. From there you can subscribe. I'd give out the YouTube link, but because we're a new channel, the YouTube link is big and random. It won't be until I get enough subscribers that I could get a dedicated channel. So hopefully if you guys are out there, look up Man of Steel Untitled Movie Show and subscribe, because I could really use
I think between me, Tony, and Wago, we could probably give you enough subscribers.
Well, I still got to give it to the other members of my channel, so that they've got to subscribe as well. But yeah, if you want, I'm going to be posting the link up on the official Twitter page for the Untitled Movie Show. So twitter.com/unmovieshow. Follow us on there. The Untitled Movie Show itself, the show that I'm doing on YouTube every Wednesday night live. Around 8 o'clock ish. Tomorrow we're going to be doing an episode. It's going to be devoted to one of our new co-hosts, Miss Anita Kasky, who is a new friend of ours. She's going to be talking about her favorite guilty pleasure movies. It's a theme we do every time we get a new member of the show. We have them discuss their 5 favorite guilty pleasure movies, and we talk about if the movies are actually worth hating, or if they're actually as good as people say, things like that. So we've got her doing it. So check that out Wednesday night, tomorrow night, 8 o'clock ish on YouTube, the Untitled Movie Show. Follow us on Twitter. Subscribe to the new YouTube page so I can get an official dedicated YouTube link for it, and so I can monetize it, because apparently, according to our head producer, my show is one of the few shows that we have that doesn't use any licensed music per se. So I can, if I wanted to, I can monetize it, but I'm still a little bit weary about that.
Calen, any plugs?
Yeah, if you're in the greater Indianapolis area and you would like to rent a bounce house, make sure you call Drusif White, the bounce house prince, and he will hook you up. I believe he has one that has Sergeant Slaughter on it. So if that's the kind of thing you want, call Drew.
Drew, any plugs?
Well, he just did my plug, so no, I'm just kidding.
If you live in the greater Indiana area.
To be fair, though, that does sound a lot like the when I did my plugs like 2 years ago. I will give you that one. It does sound. But you can follow me on Twitter at Drusif White.
90 seconds.
90 seconds remaining. My bad. That scared the shit out of me. But anyways, no one's gonna know that but us. But anyways, something okay, good. So good. So just letting you guys know, if you get on YouTube, look up Make Frickin' Duncan. Follow that channel. That's my channel. Some stuff's gonna be going up on there, and I will tell you this. It'll get more likes and dislikes. I promise you that much. Drew White out.
Alrighty, guys. So, obviously, pay attention to smartoutmoment.com for the wrestling side of things, fanboysanonymous.com for the geek culture side of things, and follow All Talk Show on all the different avenues. We might do another episode 5 of All Talk Show next week. Maybe not. of course, stay tuned to facebook.com/alltalkshow, and that's where we're going to announce whenever we do an episode. Thank you to the panelists. Thank you to everybody listening. I think that's going to shut us up for this evening. So, adios, everybody. See you next time.